Howdy, folks. We're going to take a minute here to take a look at Project 4. Hopefully that went pretty well for you folks. I know I had a couple last-minute questions, so I want to show you this approach of getting it done. And with the rubric being very specific here, there weren't a lot of different ways to go about this. But this is our practice of using classes and having classes interact with each other, and then using these arrays or array lists. I had asked for array lists. I'll show you how it works with an array as well, in case you were curious. So let me go ahead and start up a new project here for Project 4. Project 4, make sure it's in our class repository here. Should be good. And there we go. All right, cool. So we got our main method. Again, we're not actually doing anything in main yet, because we need to make that lotto ticket class first. Then we can go use that lotto ticket class. I'm going to come over to my source folder. I want to say, hey, I want a new Java class. I'm going to call it lotto ticket. Right, and some specific things for the lotto ticket. We needed a constructor that accepts values for number of values and the max value. Okay, sure, so we can do that. So if you wanted to save those attributes, you could. Right? You could have them as number of values and a private int here. Number of values, private int for max value. Now the number of values is actually going to be redundant here. So max value I can see being interesting. Number of values, we can just ask the array list or even the array, how many numbers do we have here? So I don't think we need to save that one at that point, but I think max value might be nice. And then we need a place to store the numbers. So we need a private array list of type integer. Here we'll call our numbers. So these are going to be the numbers on our ticket here. Right? So we'll have the array list of integers for the number here. And we'll have the constructor takes the number of values and the max value. So we need to write a constructor here. But we got to add our imports here for array list too. So add the import java.util.arraylist, and then we'll write a constructor. So this is public lotto ticket. Remember, constructors don't have a return type. The name matches the name of the class here. So we need an int for the number of values, and we need an int for the max value. So we can set this max value to the max value, and then we need to, for the number of values, generate random numbers here. So I can say for int number equals 0, 0, there we go. Number is less than the number of values, number plus plus. So if you tell me you want 3 numbers here, we'll run with numbers being 0, number being 1, and number being 2. So we'll get 3 numbers here. And the other thing we need to do, right, the constructor's job is to give values to all of our attributes. So numbers doesn't exist yet. So I did see a couple people tried to say, hey, this should be a new array list here. Technically it will work here, but it is really bad form. You don't want to have anything being nude here when we declare it if we have a constructor. That's the constructor's job to do this thing, not when we list out the attributes. Technically it works, it's just considered bad form here. So we'll say numbers equals a new array list here. Oops, there's too many numbers, equal signs there. Again, it will tell you if you put the word integer in here, again, it's redundant. You don't need it in there. If you like it in there, it's perfectly fine, but it'll tell you, hey, you don't need to put it in here. So once we've created this in memory, now I can go load values there. So I can take my numbers and I can add something to it. Numbers.add, there we go, numbers.add, and I can give it a new integer. So I need an int of the math.random times the max value, right? So this will give me a random as a method here with some parentheses. Math.random will give me between 0 and not including 1. So that times the max value will give me 0 and up to, but not including the max value. So I want to take all of that, and I want to add 1 to it. Right? Because that way I'll get from 1 to the max value, not 0 up to, but not including the max value. So this way I'll get, if I said, hey, I want 10, I'll get 1 to 10 instead of 0 to 9. And we just do that for as many number of values as we want. That's it for the constructor. Right, so if we want to be able to get back that max value, we could here. So we could write some get methods. Giving someone access to an array list here is actually considered a little risky, because then they could go and change it if we give that to them. So by putting it in here is nice, but giving it back to them means that they can go and change the value. So they can't reassign the array list anywhere, but they could change the values inside of it, which is probably not going to be what we want here. So we don't really need to have any get methods, and that wasn't in here. Just private attributes with public methods. It doesn't say get methods anywhere. It's just, hey, we need this public is winner method. So if you added some gets here, that's okay, but just you want to be careful with numbers. So if you want to give someone access to what the values are, a public array list of type integer, get numbers here, we don't want to just return numbers directly here. That's not going to be very good for us. I thought it was going to give me a suggestion here. That's okay. So we don't want to return numbers. We want to return numbers, and then clone here will give me a copy of it, essentially. Oh, that's a shallow copy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that should be okay. So why is it not like that? Yeah, okay, so we can cast it, we can clone it, and then cast it as an array list of integers. Okay, that's just messy here. Why? That's okay. Numbers dot, there's no copy, right? I think it's just clone. That's okay, we can do that. If you wanted to make a new array list here, that's probably okay. So we'll just put a little note in here. It's risky to return the array list directly because the contents can be modified. This idea of it being a shallow copy, don't worry too much about that. We'll get more into it in object-oriented programming, the next course here. But if it was anything other than integers, they might be able to go and change those particular values. It's not copying those numbers, but because they're integers, it's fine. We don't really care. It'll be okay here. Modified? Nope, there was supposed to be enough there. Modified. There we go. And then if we wanted, we could also do the get max value. So for that, I could just add the getter here. So I could go to generate, generate a getter for max value. And now we've got a get max value. So cool. So we've got some public methods if we wanted. Then really the important one here was we needed get winner or is winner. So that was going to be a public Boolean here called is winner given another lotto ticket. And we'll assume this lotto ticket is the winning ticket. Right. So when I buy 2 lotto tickets, or if I buy a lotto ticket, and eventually I'll see what the winning numbers are, which really is essentially another ticket. Here's the numbers on the winning ticket. I'm going to look at my ticket. I'm going to look at their ticket and say, okay, does my first number match? Okay, does my second number match? Okay, does my third number match? Okay, on and on and on and on is how we're matching these up here. So to get at my numbers here is just numbers. To get at the winning ticket numbers, it's winning ticket dot, you could say get numbers, or if you wanted to, we could directly get at numbers. It's marked as private, but because this is still the lotto ticket class, if you have another instance of a lotto ticket, you can get at their private values. Probably still, not ideal, but it's not too big of a deal here. So we're just going to loop through. So, or, because we have max value as well, we could still check that. We could check the number of values if we really wanted to. We could check that real quick. So it will say, hey, if my max value does not equal the winning ticket dot get max value, right? That is no good. If our max values aren't the same, you probably can't be a winning ticket. You might have the same numbers, but it's not really the same lotto at that point. So we probably shouldn't do that. So if that's not the same, or my numbers.size, right? That's the number of values that I have here, does not equal the winning ticket dot get numbers dot size. So get their numbers list and get the size. So if my size doesn't match their size, right, then we can't be a winner here. So return false right away. This was no good here. If they were the same, then I can go through and loop. And we'll say for int index is 0, index is less than my numbers.size, index plus plus here, to get at each value one at a time by index. So I can say, hey, if my numbers.get the index does not equal the winning ticket.get numbers, get the index, right? So check my first value, their first value. If they're not the same, I can return false. If I've gone through every single one of my numbers, now I might have 10 numbers, right? And that's okay. And we'll still need to check number 1, we need to check number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way on out. If we find one that doesn't match, it's not a winner. If we've looked at all of them, we haven't returned false, then I can say, hey, we must be a match, let's return true. We are now a matching winning ticket here. What is this at sign? No, that's fine. Okay. So here's our lotto ticket class, right? It has a constructor, accepts number of values and max value, has the isWinner method that accepts another instance of the lotto ticket to compare with. It has its private attributes, public methods. Then we're going to do the simulator thing. So now we'll have to get the min and max value that was between 3 and 10 and no more than 100. The class itself doesn't care. If we wanted to, we could do something with that in the class. You'll look at that more next semester if you go on to object-oriented programming, what we could do with classes to ensure that they only get values that they want. But that's enough for our simulator here. So in our simulator, then we need to go and get some values. So we'll get a number of values. So if I int for number of or a number of numbers, number of values, I'm going to say 0. And while number of values is less than 3 or number of values is greater than 10, let's ask them, hey, please enter the number of values for the ticket. And I'll say 3 to 10, right? And then we'll get that value. So we need the scanner. So we'll set up a scanner keyboard equals scanner. Great. Given system.in. Fantastic. It even added the import for me. And then we'll say number of values equals keyboard.nextLine. And that's an integer. So we need to do integer.parseInt. Integer.parseInt of keyboard.nextLine. Integer. Here we go. And spell. Right. Great. So now we've got our number of values. We'll do the same thing here for max value. This will be my max value here. And we'll say while, and I'm going to put it at like a 101 here. We'll say while max value is greater than 100, or, and it's probably worth checking here if it's, just max value, or if it's less than 1, right? Because that could be fine. I can set it at 0 to start here too. So didn't ask you to check for 0 or negative, but it's probably a good thing to do here anyway. So I'll leave it in here. So enter the max value for the numbers no more than 100. Okay, we'll get those values. Then we can make our lotto ticket once we have those. So we'll say lotto ticket. We'll call this one the winning ticket equals a new lotto ticket given the number of values and the max value. Great, now we have a ticket. Now we need another ticket. So lotto ticket, another ticket equals a new lotto ticket, again, given the number of values and the max value. I don't know why I got another set of parentheses there. That's funny. And while my winning ticket, we'll do it the other way around. While another ticket dot is winner, given the winning ticket, right? So take another ticket, compare it with the winning ticket, see if they match. While it's not a winner here, we just need to make another ticket here. Over and over and over until we find one that is a match here. And this will be an int for number of tickets until finding a winner. Sure, is 1, because we start with 1 ticket here. And every time we do this again, we'll add 1 to it. When we're done, we can print out, hey, it took plus my number of to find a winner, tickets to find a winner. Right, so our simulator then gets the number of values, max value from the user, counts how many tickets it takes to generate a matching ticket to the first one. Great. I know a couple people wanted to actually spit out the numbers. We don't have a way of doing that nicely yet. We can add that in here in a second. Let's just see if it works first. So let's give it a run. So if I were to make a ticket with 3 numbers up to 10, I'd expect 10 times 10 times 10, about 1,000 or less, right? So 3 up to 10 here. So this only took 207. Nice. It's not a guarantee and it is random here. So that was pretty good. We'll do 3, 10 more. So that took 281. Okay, sure. Let's do 3 up to 10. That took 1,800 this time. We were very unlucky that time. Sure, that's okay. Let's try it again. 3 up to 10 here. That's 714. Sure, and I think the more we do this, we will get closer and closer and closer to that expected number here if we were to average out our results. Right, but if you did big numbers here, so if we did 10 values up to 100 here, it's going to take quite a while because we'd expect 100 to the 10th power. So 100 and then 10,000 and then a million and then 100 million and then 10 billion. And we're going to run out of integers at that point here with only 5 of those. And you can see it's still spinning and running here. We haven't really gone anywhere. Let me see if I can get up my task manager here. Is it? Yeah, we're just eating a decent amount of CPU. Not tons of CPU here, but we're just spinning through some CPU here as this is running. It's just doing our Java thing here as it's running, trying to find a value that matches here. And again, we haven't found one yet, so that's okay. We'll just kill it here. Now, if you wanted to see what the values were, let's add a method here. So a couple of people said, hey, if I were to try and print out a ticket here, you get an ugly value, which is true. Remember, the normal value for when you turn an object into a string is what you get from the object class, which is the name of the class and some memory address. It's not very pretty. So the right way to go about that, if you wanted to turn this into a string a lot, is we could add a toString method here. That's probably more than we need to get into for our class. That's fine. Let's just write a helper method here in main. So we'll say, hey, this make a public static void print ticket given a lotto ticket. Here, we'll just call it ticket. And then we'll say for int number in the ticket.get numbers here. Let's call system.out.print the number plus a space here. And then when we're done with all of that, then I'll just print line to print the line. Right, so that's the ticket. So we could print a ticket here if we wanted. So yeah, that's fine. So we could have that in here if we wanted. Do we want another value here? We can like tell something else about it, a ticket number, or that's probably fine. We'll just print the winning ticket here. We'll call print ticket given the winning ticket. And we could give it a little header here. We can print here, winning ticket. And then every time we generate a ticket here, right, we can print out that new ticket. Maybe just put it in the loop here. So here's I guess we're not finding that first ticket here, but that's okay. We'll just call print ticket given another ticket. So this will generate the other ticket every single time here. Let's give this a run, and let's see if we can just do 3 values up to 10 here. So it took 140 tickets to find 566. Is that the winning ticket? Let's look up at the top. Our winning ticket was 566, and we got a bunch of different tickets here, a bunch of random tickets. It looks relatively random to me. And eventually we got 566 again. And if we do it again, we might take some other values. So 3 up to 10. Now it took 595 for a 789 was the winning ticket, and on and on and on. So you can print them out if you want to. That was just for fun. All right, folks, let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns. Thanks.